nation and provide a safe haven for its warriors. So I'm so excited tonight. We have as our guest Connie C Lamothe, and she's a filmmaker and entrepreneur. And Connie, why don't you introduce yourself?
I thought you were going to do some of that. No worries. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Alan, for having me here on your show. I'm really excited to be here and excited to share with anybody who's interested in meeting another creative. That's me.
That's you.
That is me. And that's a great way to describe me. I'm definitely, that is my personality. And has been since I was a little girl. Kind of started when I was 5 years old or 6, I guess, and I stepped onto a stage and I really loved it up there. I thought, oh, this is so fun. I love it. Give me that microphone. And so then about the time that I was a teenager, I started doing some modeling. That was a lot of fun. Did it with, I had a girlfriend that was also into it. And so, of course, we went to modeling school, as was popular back in those days. We went to modeling school, and that kind of led me to some other things as well. I got involved in theater, which was very exciting. Love that. And I did both, many things on the stage, but I also kind of got involved in doing things behind stage. And my modeling really continued up until probably the time I was in my early 30s. Did many different types of things, some runway stuff, not high fashion, but some great fun runway experiences for Oscar de la Renta. And also I did some tea room modeling and some photography and things like that. So then my interest in theater grew. And from there, I started doing all different kinds of shows. In fact, I met my husband that way. Wow. And we did all kinds of musicals. We sang. In fact, when we met, he was playing Frank Sinatra and I was playing Betty Grable. And that was a lot of fun. It's a good memory. But that led me to doing some professional theater. And that was for a company that was based out of LA that came to the Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC area looking for, an actress to play a role in a new show. And my sister actually called me and said, hey, I heard about this and I thought I would pass this on to you. So I went and I auditioned and I got the part and it was great, super fun. Show. We traveled around the metropolitan area for a number of years. After about the second year, our producer had to go a different direction. So the LA-based company asked me if I would direct it. So that was my first experience with directing. And that was really fun. So that show probably lasted, maybe 5 years, 6 years, something like that. And, as I said, I was, still doing theater and, that kind of thing. And then what was the game changer was when I got cast in a film, a big film that was shooting in Washington, D.C. called Contact. And that is, I don't remember the year that came out, but I guess that was in the 90s. Foster had a great cast, Matthew McConaughey and, some other big names. I think James Woods was in it and that kind of really, really fun film. But Alan, when I stepped onto that set, that was just, I was in love. I was in
Wow.
love. I loved everything. And, it was interesting. While some people were kind of complaining about, oh, it's hot. I'm tired of waiting. There's so much sitting around. This food isn't very good. Or, when are we going to get picked for something bigger? I was just as happy as I could be. I didn't want to go home. But anyway, so that kind of was what started it. And at that point in time, there were a lot of big things happening in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area as far as films go. And so, just over the next couple of years, we just, it was just one film kind of after the other. It was great. It was wonderful. I wish, D.C. was still like that today. But so that's really what started things. And then I started directing some children's groups for, theatrical type things. And I had 2 little small groups that I ran, and I did that. And then that just kind of led to, I was getting bigger roles in acting. And that led me to having an interest, just like you, in
Oh,
working with somebody who was new, trying to help somebody who was new to the industry and needed to know how to get a leg up, how to get in there, how to get seen, what to do. And so that's when I decided to start my own company. And around that same time, I was making some of my own films. I shot my first film in 2008. And in 2009, I started what at that point in time was called CCL Productions and Talent. And so, I was producing films, and I started the talent management business. And I've been doing that ever since. So here I am.
wow, that's great. Yes, that's that's a great origination story.
Well,
And,
thank you. Thank you.
yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so your company CCL Talent?
Yes.
Yes. And so question is, so what does a talent manager, or I mean, what's the right terminology for you? Are you a talent agent, a talent manager? What's the right terminology to call you?
I am a talent manager.
Talent
And
manager.
there is a difference between what agents and managers do. The great thing is that both managers and agents are there to help someone develop and start their career, or for somebody who's already started to help them get better work. But an agent is a licensed individual. You have to think of it as like an employment agency, but for talent. And a talent agent will do things. First of all, I guess the other thing I should say is usually agents have a fairly big roster. They have a big roster. They're really, really focused on, booking work for their talent. And talent agents can earn anywhere between 10 and sometimes 15%. But if it's a union project, they're only going to earn 10. If it's non-union, they can earn up to 15. But a talent agent will do everything from negotiate a contract to assisting the production company by making sure that the talent gets all the information they need in order to arrive on time, have their sides, and have everything in order for that job. And also, a lot of times the payment will go directly through the agent to the talent. Now, as far as a manager goes, a manager is somebody who's really focused on long-term career development. And so, as an example, I have some clients who I've had for quite a long time, more than 10 years. And so it's really been super awesome to be able to see the transition from, day one with them to, to where they are now. I think we're going to talk about one of them in a little while. But anyway, so, we offer career guidance. We're going to help talent with everything they need to know in order to really get themselves ready for booking work. So that means everything from having a correct resume in the proper format, having the correct types of headshots, having the appropriate reel or clips, all of these things, being on the right sites to look for work. We also have things like industry connections, so we can help to set up talent who don't have an agent to getting an agent. And anyway, the great thing is that both agents and managers can work together really nicely to help a talent grow and develop their career.
Yeah. Is your scope the whole country or the whole world?
No. That's the other thing I was going to say. Most managers, and I didn't say that, most managers have a smaller roster. And managers can, I could have talent in California and, and kind of everywhere. But what really happened for me is, you heard me say, I started in the Virginia, Maryland, DC market and was there for most of my career up until 2020 when I moved here to the Charleston area. Anyway, I was going to say, just that, and I lost my train of thought there. Sorry about that. Just trying to cover everything, I guess. But anyway, it's it's very rewarding. I really, really love being a manager, and I love the personal relationships that I have with my clients, and that's a big part of management too. I'm very focused on providing personal attention to them, as opposed to an agent can be so much busier because they have so many clients and they have a lot going on, and it's harder for them to give personalized attention. Although I do have to say, I know some that are just amazing, 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 and they do provide such good care to their people. So,
yeah. One thing you mentioned about was having the right reel, and so
yes.
Does your company actually produce the reels, or do you
I don't do. Yeah, I don't get involved in doing anything like that. And to be quite honest, that can be a little dicey. Really, as a manager, my focus is really just their career development and that type of thing. And so when someone needs a reel, I can refer them to people that are out there that are making reels, but once I make the referral, I don't have any kind of connection to that, and I encourage them to look around, talk to other people. I don't want them to only, listen to, the one person or two people that I might be suggesting. You were asking me about, now remember, you're asking me about where my talent is. So my talent are from New York down to Florida, and that is mostly that area, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia. So kind of the East Coast. But then I have some people that are over in Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess that's interesting. That geographically located, but yet there could be some outliers. That's good, but
yeah,
that means that your people are finding out about you and reaching out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I have not done any real looking for talent. I don't really look for talent. Talent finds me, and almost, I would say probably 95% of my roster is all people that have found me through, either connections or something like that. So I don't really go out and try to locate talent.
Do you think that's typical of talent companies, that as opposed to you reaching out, people actually reach out to you?
I don't think that it's typical. I do think that there are a lot of representatives that are, whether they're agents or managers, that do keep an eye out for talent that are, have an outstanding resume or a great look, something along those lines, so I have I have a small roster, and I like it that way. Right now I have about 40 individuals, which, not all of them are as active as each other. Some are very active. Some people I'm in communication with almost every day, and other talent I'm talking to maybe on a weekly basis or monthly basis, and some even less. It just depends on what other things they have going on.
Oh, okay. Wow. By the way, I'd like to thank those people who are tuned in watching the live, as well as those watching the replay. Okay, so continuing talking about CCL talent. Okay, let's talk about working with Elena Braverman. Tell us what you do for her. Or what she does for you,
Elena. Well, it has been a great story working with her, because when I first started working with Elena, I think she was 16 years old. And now, one great thing about Elena is that she is located in New York City. So there are lots of opportunities. And she has been very blessed with doing a lot of things. So, Elena now is married. She has a son, a little boy who's about 19 months old. And so lots have happened in that time frame. But when Elena first came to me, she was, very new to the industry. She had been doing some background things. And, her mother said, we really want her to get, some bigger roles, maybe something that's supporting, something that's speaking would be a lot of fun. And, she really felt confident that Elena would be able to handle it, and, and that kind of thing. And so over a period of time, I think by now, Elena's done many independent films, just done a lot of independent films. She does get a lot of work there in New York. She's been on, all the bigger shows. She's done a lot of the movies. But on top of that, she also is a beautiful, beautiful woman, and she's gotten very into fashion. So she has now, I can't even keep up with it. She's on the cover of a lot of magazines. And anyway, so, she's done that, but she's loves Fashion Week, and she does, both the Fall Fashion Week and the Spring Fashion Week. And last year she went to Paris and did Fashion Week. So she stays really busy. Right now I'm kind of working with her on a role for a feature film that's exciting, and I don't know what I'm really allowed to say or not to say. So the best thing is not to say anything about the name of the film, but she's doing great. I'm really proud of her. She's come a long way. She's come a long way from being a young, very shy girl to now being, a woman that gets up and does all of this stuff. And so I'm really excited to be able to, still have her in my roster and still get to work with her and get to watch her little boy grow up. And, I have a nice relationship with her family as well. So it's all been good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've been in a number of, my wife and I I've been in a number of films that she's been in. So
Oh,
yeah,
I
right.
didn't
Yeah,
know
so
that.
so I've had the opportunity to work with her and be in scenes, actually be in scenes with Elena. She's really with her experience, really helps me out, because I'm newer to acting. So
She's a very, one thing that's nice about Elena too is that she's like a very chill person. She's very chill. She's just, and I think that's really, that's a great thing for somebody who is, who's doing some acting, because sometimes people can get very, very nervous and, but not Elena. She's very calm, cool, and collected all the time.
yeah, that's right. So there's an example, as I said, of a client of a talent company. Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry,
think.
Alan, can you repeat that for me? I just didn't
Oh, I
hear
was
it.
just saying that to the audience that there's an example of a
Oh,
client
yes.
that you
Yeah.
have. Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
especially from the management perspective, that does give you an idea as to, I mean, this has been a long time. So that's almost 10 years
yeah.
that
Wow.
she's been a client of mine. So a lot of growth from being a junior in high school all the way to, being a married woman, and so much career, um, development over that period of time. And, she's, as I said, she's really grown. So she's got quite a
Yeah,
good resume.
yeah. I think it's very, very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about the film in Driving into Darkness.
Driving into Darkness.
Yeah. So
Okay. Well, Driving
okay.
into Darkness was formerly The Driver.
Uh,
And this story, on the day that I stand up to accept my Oscar for this,
and you will.
I will get to tell the tale that many, many famous directors tell, which is they've been working on that project for about 100 years. But in all seriousness, I want to make sure that when I talk about this, that I talk about some pertinent people, because, they're also a part of it. So many years ago, when I was on the set of a film, which I do not remember the name of, but it's a Nicole Kidman film. We were shooting in Baltimore. And I had a friend there, a girl that I knew, and she said to me one day when we were sitting and holding, she said, "Hey, I've got somebody I want you to meet." And I said, "Oh, great." So she introduced me to a gentleman named Vince Riviezo. And Vince was a kind of a cool guy from Philadelphia. And so we got to talking, and he was just a card. He was funny. He had a lot of great stories to tell, mostly about his life. And so as we got to know each other, he started to reveal a little more and a little more, and come to find out, he was actually involved in a kind of not in a direct way, but he was involved with the mob in the 80s.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
fascinated with that, because this was at the time I was doing the professional theater, and my character was, kind of she was an Italian American, and I just was so focused on the whole, Italian American thing, and the history of, the Italians coming to New York City, and really was just such a fascinating subject for me. So I wanted to find out from him more about what he was talking about. I wanted to know more about what he was doing. And anyway, his story was really, really fascinating. And so one day towards the end of this several week period that we were working on the film, I said to him, I've been thinking, and I think I really would like to write a script. about your story. And he said, be my guest. Please be my guest. So I spent several months meeting up with him. He lived in Philly. I lived in Virginia. But he did work occasionally in Virginia and West Virginia and Maryland. So when he was coming up to those areas, I met up with him. I'd ride around in the car with him, and I'd take my pen and I just would write notes. And so he shared some stories with me about some of these events that happened to him during this time. Now, as I said, just to be fair to him, he did not have direct contact with them. So my story, as it evolved, certainly changed to be cinematically exciting and much bigger. Anyway, just to put that out there to protect Vince. So a really strong story came together, and we started doing some shooting. We did all kinds of things, to be honest, Alan. We shot up in Philadelphia. This was with not a completed script, but we were thinking we would put something together, a teaser or something along those lines, and maybe even a short. I didn't know. I'd never done any of this before. I just had been an actress. So now all of a sudden I'm put on the filmmaker hat and director hat. And so I made a lot of mistakes back then, but I learned a lot from them. Anyway, so we were everywhere. We shot in Philly. We came back. We shot in West Virginia some. We shot in Virginia. We did all of this different stuff. We spent money. We kept improving the script. I brought a great guy in who's written several things with me or wrote them entirely for me. His name is Michael Brennan. Great writer. Really, really amazing guy. Anyway, so when he came in, he was able to take everything that I had done, which, was kind of assemble the whole outline and put together basic scenes. And then he came in and we worked together, and he did like dialogue fill. It was great. And we struggled kind of over the years. I met different people to try and get this thing produced, and thinking, initially, I would just have a small budget. I had all kinds of budgets. I had a budget that would suit anybody who had money, kind of, in order to help me get this thing made. So we had budgets as low as $150,000, and I had a budget all the way up to $1 million. Wow. But the reality was that it was so much harder than I ever thought it would be to raise money. But the script was golden. There was not one person who read my script that had negative feedback. And these are some big people that I really respect, that, told me this is a great film. And I think a lot of people say that, but I will say that you just know when you have it right. We've read it in front of audiences. As I've told you before, it's been read by some big names, some big named actors, and they all love it. And they tell me, "Oh my gosh, this is a big studio film, Connie. You really got to do this as a big studio film." But the sad part of that is I want to direct it. And I don't, I've never directed a big studio film. I've directed all my films over the years now, but still, people might feel like, oh, we need somebody with, years of experience doing that. And this is my baby. So I'm going to stick to my guns and, so that I can fulfill my wish of many, 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 many years now. In any case, we came very, very close to completing this project. We were shooting it in 2019. I have a great cast, and we were shooting in. We shot some in New York. We shot some in. Can't remember the name of it. It's right on the Virginia, North Carolina border. And anyway, was just, really good experiences. And I was just blessed. I mean, we just had everything we needed. And then unfortunately, we got COVID. We were, the whole country was dealing with COVID, and that really just put us out of business. And so anyway, long story short, this sat on the shelf for a while. It sat on the shelf for a number of years. And so then I shot another film in 2023. And that was a film that I really was close to my heart, and I wanted to complete it. So we got that done. And then that led me back to, well, now I'm here and it is time for me to do this film. And so that's where we are. We're working on it. We are, trying to do our fundraising now. So that's very challenging, but I've got a great team of people. I'm working with a producer out of California. And so I'm very excited about my collaboration with her. And I've got some great people that I've known for many years that have produced a number of things themselves. One of them is Wayne Shipley, who's out of Maryland, done a lot of Western films. I'm also working with Johnny Alonso, who's a fabulous guy, well known between LA and Baltimore. And so anyway, we're working on it, and we're really hoping to have this project done and what have you by the end of 2027. That's our goal.
Oh, fantastic. So you said that the film has been on the shelf for a while because of circumstances beyond your control. Does that mean that you're going to have to do a lot of reshooting?
Yes, we will not. We will not be able to use the footage that we shot before. There's just that length of time. And, with technology the way it is, I mean, it's just kind of, at this point, it almost seems obsolete, as far as that goes. Plus, people age, they change. We had some, big names for our film. And, of course, that's changed. We had an actor out of, where was he out of? I think he was in Arizona. And he passed away with cancer. We had Robert Carradine, who most people know who he is. And we had Bobby Carradine, and as you know, he unfortunately just passed away in February. So we, have gone through some changes. So yeah, there's no way that we could use the footage that we had before. We're starting from the start all over again.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Driver Productions, LLC. Is the sole purpose of that company for this particular film?
Yes. Yeah. Well, when we started out, Driving into Darkness was referred to as The Driver. So we had Driver Productions, and yes, that is the LLC for that film specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I have another company. It's called CCL Productions, and it's, basically been the company that I've used for these other films that I've made, which are Rosie's Miracle, Fourth Question, Charity, Reunion, The Wooden Bull. No, that one. My husband's saying, "Hey, Angels Within," but that was not my film. That was another gentleman's film. I just co-directed with him on that. That Moment in Time, I think is what it was called. Anyway. So, lots of different films over the years. that have been done through CCL Productions.
Okay, got it. Yes. Okay. So you get your talent company and your production company.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is considered an indie film. That's the route that you wanted to take, so that you can
And I love indie film.
It's your baby. That's
Yes.
so. Yeah.
Well,
As opposed to.
Yeah. Alan, when you work together from the moment that a film is created, when you start out with, remember I was talking about being creative, being a creator myself. Each one of the films that I've done has started because either an idea came to me or because I read something that inspired me. And a bunch of these films, to be honest, are faith-based films. Driving into Darkness is not a faith-based film. But the rest of them have been. And so I felt very inspired to do them. So when you start from something like just from the very beginning and you work through that whole period of time to get the script together, and that's writing and rewriting, and I mean just so many edits until you get it down, and then being involved in just trying to get the money together, trying to figure out all the logistics and the people and the cast and the everything. By the time you're ready to do it and you've completed it, it's just like a part of you.
Yeah, of course.
So all these things, they're all my babies.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Yes. Well, I think that's a great inspiration to yourself, because
thank you.
You're really dedicated to the films that you have originated, given birth to. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's talk about another one of your films. This one is actually out there and available for people to see, called The Wooden Bowl.
Yes.
Tell us about the storyline and your inspiration for making it.
Okay. Let's start with this. In about 2002, my mother had passed away. My father came to live with my husband and children and I. And after a very short period of time, we began to notice that he was forgetting things, and that he was experiencing things like not remembering what happened to a portion of his day and feeling very upset about that. Like, Connie, I don't remember what I did earlier today. Am I okay? Did something happen? So this turned into Alzheimer's. And so we were, his caretakers for the duration, or the whole kit and caboodle of when this got started. He passed away in 2009 with Alzheimer's, and he was a lovely guy. He was a lovely guy, and was super hard to watch. Such an incredibly intelligent human being, who did things in his lifetime that were amazing. He worked for the FBI. He helped to be a part of the security for the atomic bomb. He was the senior vice president of General Atomics, and was very involved in nuclear energy, the Department of Energy, and and those kinds of things. So very, very intelligent man. And it's just not something that you ever expect to happen in your family. So there was that. Then at one point or another, I came across a very old tale. Somebody sent it to me. It came to me email. And it was called The Wooden Bowl. And it was, the story is so old that nobody really knows when it originated, but we're talking hundreds of years ago. And so basically the story is that a family is caring for an old man. Now, they're not saying that he has dementia or that he has memory problems, just that he's an old man and he's feeble and he has very poor table manners. He must have, bad vision or shaking, where he can't hold his fork or something along those lines. But they're very disgraced. The parents are disgraced by his bad manners, and they eventually give him a wooden bowl to eat out of because he's constantly breaking the utensil or the dishes that he's been given to eat from and that kind of thing. So that gave me the idea to take that story and embellish it and write my own story, but to do that and kind of do it in honor of my father, basically to shed some light on what it's like from both perspectives, what it's like to be the individual that is suffering from the memory related issues, and just old age, in general, and then what it's like to be the caregiver. And so we created the wooden bowl, Michael Brennan and I. Each one of we have the story involves their Catellis. So there's the husband and wife, and they have a son. And they're very different. The husband and wife are very different personalities. And we wanted to do that in order to kind of show how they would relate to the grandfather, the one that had the memory problems, and how it also affected the young boy, how he was affected by that. So this is what the story's about. It's very touching, I think, and I've gotten such great feedback from people who have said to me, in fact, I'll share one with you. When we premiered this, we premiered it at a big theater. We had a really nice size audience, and of course we had some press there. And a gentleman who was in the press came up to me afterwards and said, and he was crying. This was right after we were kind of all leaving the theater, and he was crying, and he said, "Thank you so much." And I said, well, you're welcome. What, why? And he explained to me that he had a son at home that was dealing with, some kind of issue. I didn't really want to pry too much, but it could have been that, he had, some kind of autism or something along those lines. But he said, I got angry at him today. And I spoke to him in a way that I feel really guilty about. And he said, and thank you for creating this film, because it really shed light on how I need to do better. And so, I've heard this kind of same thing from several different people that, have been to see the film and gotten some emails and, what have you, just people saying, thank you so much for this, because, I'm dealing with my mother, or I'm dealing with, somebody that is going through these difficult times, and it's very hard. Anyway, so we're just really proud of the film in that it's able to help people. It's able to help them kind of take a different look maybe at what they're feeling. And it's been we've had great success with the film. We've won a lot of awards. They're all on the website. Anybody can, go and take a peek. It's obviously www, and it's the-wooden-bowl.com. And on that site, there's a a listing of all the different awards that it's won. And in fact, we just picked up the most recent one. I believe you were there and you saw. We won a Best Director award, and we also won a Best Screenplay award at the World Music Independent Film Festival in, I guess it was in Virginia this time. But anyway, so it's been great. It's been a wonderful film, and I really do hope that people would go to watch it. It's on Relay, and if you go to that website that I shared with you, which is as I said, it's the Wooden Bowl with dashes in between. There's a place right on there that you can just click, and it'll take you right to the site, and you can watch it. And it is a short film, by the way. It's just, I believe it's just a 30, maybe to 32-minute film.
Well, it's great to film. It's an important message, and we see how it's affected people just by that one experience that you relayed and everything. So
yeah,
that's something to be proud of for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
such great acting in that film.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Alan, one of the things that I should mention is that the cast was so amazing, and I was really blessed to have a gentleman named Nick Narangis, who I'm sorry to say is he's been very ill, and he's been having a lot of health issues. But anyway, Nick Narangis plays the grandfather, and he did such a superb job. And then Johnny Alonso, who is such a fabulous actor. If you don't know him, you should check him out. And I also represent him. And I forgot to say, he's from Los Angeles. So
there you go. So you're coast to coast.
So I do have somebody in LA, but anyway, but he's a phenomenal actor, and he just does a great job as the father. The wife was Jessica Claros, beautiful, beautiful woman. It was really into the acting thing for a while, and right now she's taking a break, and she's probably out in the middle of an ocean somewhere because she decided she wanted to sail. She wanted to work on big ships, like big sailing ships. So that's what she's doing. Anyway, but I was really, blessed to have such a great cast. And, but Nick Narangis was a wonderful guy, and he was also my executive producer.
Yep. Fantastic. Yeah. So that's the Wooden Bowl with dashes in between.com. And it'll take you right to the sites where you can view the film.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So, what advice can you give to people who want to emulate what you do?
Wow. Well, a lot. I can give a lot of advice on that because I've lived it. First of all, I think it's okay to set out on one journey and end up on another. Because I think that for all of us who want to try to be in control of our careers, we head down a path, and just in one day that situation can change. But I think so if you start out your journey as an actor, there isn't anything to say that you can't make that same transition that I've made. And I think that just comes over years of being involved in, as an example for me, like, just getting involved and doing as much as you can, and interacting with lots of people, networking. But there's one true thing, and that is that if you are an actor, one of the greatest ways to get yourself seen, because you may not have, you may be a strong actor, but you don't have a really solid resume. So you want to be seen. So what's a good way to do it? Go out there and write a script and put yourself in a film and get it done.
Okay.
You know, that's a really great way to do that. You know, and so I encourage people to really think about that, because it can open the doors for them to write in a supporting role for themselves or write in a lead role. And, you know, and so that's a great way to showcase yourself. If it's a, you know, I wouldn't say to start out with a feature.
Yeah.
You're gonna make a film, then always start with a short and make several shorts and learn the process, because typically what happens is, you know, as the filmmaker, you try to wear all the hats, and that's really hard. That's a really hard thing to do. And I know that I have just learned over the years that assembling a really amazing team is the most valuable thing that you can do when you're going to create your own film. Really getting some strong people around you that are all gifted in their own different areas, and rely on them. You cannot micromanage every single thing that's going on, especially when you're shooting. It's too busy. There's too much happening, you know, that kind of thing. So that is something that I would say to encourage people to, you know, to try and showcase themselves a little bit. And they don't have to go overboard, you know, but even doing small clips of themselves, maybe in a scene. And there are people out there that have that, you know, that are doing that as a job. They will create a reel for you. They will write a scene for you, and you will star in that scene. There's a guy in Maryland who does it, who is exceptional. I love his work. I can't think of his name right now, and I apologize for that. I can, you know, maybe, you know, am I able to do comments on this when it's up and say on some sites? Because I was going to say I could go ahead and
Okay, I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. But he's brilliant. He does great stuff. But there, you know, there's other people that do that. And, you know, just to never let go of your dream. I would have never, ever thought, I mean, from where I'm sitting, I have a bookcase over there that is full of awards, and beautiful awards, and, you know, all kinds of things that from what I've done in my films. And I look at it every day, and I'm so grateful and thankful, you know, to have achieved that. Now, I've got a long way to go. I am no way, shape, or form, you know, headed to Hollywood tomorrow. But, you know, just one step at a time.
Well,
Like I said, you know, I'm gonna walk on that stage and accept that Oscar.
Yeah, well, I really like the way you've made your career going, and more, as you said, more to come. But you're definitely on your way, and you have the ambition and everything else. So yeah, it's great. I'm so excited. Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you so much.
So finally, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, that's really, really simple. The way people can get in touch with me is to use my email address, which I think do you have that, or do you want me to say it?
Well, you can yeah, you can mention it, because this will be seen only audio only by some people.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so my email address is cclprotalent@gmail.com. There it is right there. So that's great.
Yep.
So that's a great way to get in touch with me. I do have CCL Talent has a website, ccltalent.com. I'm also on Facebook as Connie C Lamothe. So that's another way they can get in touch with me. CCL Talent is on Instagram. But but I'm sure one of those avenues will work. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
If somebody
Okay.
reaches out to me, I typically respond.
Oh, and
I see
there's
you
June. Look at
there.
that.
Oh,
He did it after all. Yeah.
hello,
Yeah. Oh, this
June.
is great.
Hi,
Well,
June.
yeah. So I'd like to thank Connie for being on the show tonight. We've all learned a lot about what a talent manager does, and we've heard about her different film things and that she's done, and also she's been in live theater, all kinds of stuff. So once again, thanks for being on, and
My pleasure. Thank you for
yeah,
having me.
and thanks to people who are watching live as well as those watching the replay on platforms such as Spotify, as well as on Jess TV, Jess TV. We're also seen on there. That's a Canadian outlet. So,
Good.
yeah. So once
Oh,
again,
Canada.
thank you for being on. And I'm going to say now, good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.